Okay, so welcome, Sally. Thank you for joining me for this chat about your business and how you have come to grow your business and how your own unique money frequency helped you to do that. So we're going to talk about all of that over the next 10 minutes. So first of all, just thank you to you for being here and for sharing for everybody else.
Thank you for asking me.
Yeah, so would you like to introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, I'm Sally Arthurs, and I work with spiritually aware people who are on their path and who are at the stage where they want to bring in all that fabulous inner wisdom and guidance that they receive when they're in meditation and things like that, and to bring it through into everyday waking life, and to actually bring their own self-worth into the process and to expand on what they do.
Beautiful. So our work is very aligned. It feels so nice. It's what it's all about, isn't it? When we come to build a spiritual business, whatever that means to anybody, it's essentially it's that for every business, but particularly this kind of business, we've got to walk our talk.
Most definitely, yeah.
And it is all about self-worth. So we're all different in that, and we've all got different frequencies. So I know yours is an accumulator frequency, which is an interesting word, isn't it? But you've got to understand it really, really well. So what I'd love is for others to understand this, especially if they too have an accumulator frequency. So before you joined the Empowered Healer programs, because you've been part of them now for a few years, haven't you? You started with seed and now you're in bud. Before you joined a spiritual business mentoring program, what was it like to be Sally? What was your life like? What was your business like?
It was as good as non-existent. If I did manage to charge anybody, it would be way lower than what I should be. And basically, looking back, I didn't value myself or the work that I did, and didn't expect anybody else to value me. So yeah, I wasn't really going anywhere at all with it. Quite ready to throw the towel in.
Yeah, well, I think many people have been like that. I know I have right at the beginning of my healing work. I also was similar in that, although I have a different frequency. So I think lots of people are going to really resonate with that. So how did that, because we know that the frequencies that we bring through our business are just our frequencies, so they're going to affect life in general. So how did that kind of impact on your life?
It's been really interesting, because at first I didn't like the word, and it was quite I wouldn't say depressing, but it wasn't nice to think that my top archetype was one that was quite money focused, which is how I viewed it to begin with, which obviously it's not all about money. It goes way deeper than that, but it was, everybody was having all these romantics and celebrities, and here was me, something that I didn't get on with very well, money, and actually being an accumulator. But once you get to know it and work with it, it really does help. But yeah, back in those days, it wasn't so good.
Mm-hmm. So it affected your personal life as well as your business life.
Yeah, it took me a while to see that was partly, that everything is related that way. It's all just energy. But yeah, because the accumulator being that you kind of hold things and you don't allow other people to support you. It's you need to be in control of finances, of everything, but it's controlling everything in your life. It's controlling the flow of how you interact with people as well.
Get a real squeezing in, don't you?
Yeah.
Of energies, and even when we don't have accumulator frequency energies, this of course can happen to us when we get fearful. So our conversations here can really be of value to everybody whenever we go into fear or any sort of chaotic vibration, which is probably quite often in this world. Our energy systems somehow are going to go, oof, which makes it so much harder for the real us to come through. So it sounds as if you've really made friends with your accumulator frequency, which is lovely, because I know a lot of people who do get the accumulator kind of like, oh, you know, they have it. There's what I've heard is a little bit of accumulator shame happens, but there's no shame, is there? Because it's who you are. So tell us about all the good things about being an accumulator.
All of the good things is that we actually, in balance, it's only an issue if it's out of balance. An accumulating in balance knows how to manage the money. They know how to work things to their advantage. And when we take the money out of it, it becomes flow of everything. You allow support in, you allow a balance between how you support people and how they support you. And it's using this energy, whether it's financial or whether it's energetic, and it's just this nice flow that comes. It's and you don't have to think, within, you begin to feel it within yourself when it's right to do something and when it's not right. You feel the constriction coming if you're holding on too tightly. So when you notice that, you can evaluate things. So I found it really helpful in lots and lots of areas. And it's coming to love it, really. It's because I'm really good at doing this.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because not everybody is good with money. The frequencies more than anything are asking us to love and embrace our strengths. And some of us have those strengths naturally, which you have. It may not be something that you were born with, but your life has given you. It may well have been, but it's your life has given you those strengths. And there's some people, like myself, it wasn't. It's something I had to learn to do. And the differentiation between that is significant and important for us. So now that you are friends with your accumulator frequency, what difference has it made in actually growing your business? Because I know your business is growing and it's growing beautifully. Tell us how it's helped, or how it helps.
It helps because I'm willing to invest in myself. I'm willing to invest time, energy, money in support for myself, which is really important. Because you're supported while you're growing and you're supporting other people, and it becomes a beautiful network, and it becomes that really supportive place. It also, there's always an incongruence, I think, especially with accumulators, when we tend to not want to invest in ourselves, but we're expecting other people to invest in us. So it kind of builds a wall between you and your client. So it's when you're able to open up that floodgate, if you will, then it's a two-way flow. And it's really, really helpful in terms of growing your business. And it's that self-worth, isn't it? It's because technically when we don't invest money in ourselves, what we're saying is, I'm not really worth spending that money. So, or spending that time or spending that energy. So when we actually allow that in, that just opens a whole new way of being for us.
Yeah, I love how you're talking about those three strands, Sally, because anybody who's a healer or spiritual entrepreneur or naturepreneur, as I like to say as well, we're not doing it for the money, we're doing it because we love what we do. However, in order to do it consistently and without burnout, we do need money. And we need something in exchange for our self-worth as well. We need an exchange. So I love that you're talking about, it's not just about money, it's about, I'm worth investing from a money perspective, a time perspective, and an energy perspective.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, so when you joined, well, let me ask you, when you first you came into the seed program and then you came into the bud program, what's the difference between the two, apart from the obvious? How is it different to be in the bud program from the seed program?
I feel that I'm more accountable in the bud. It's more focused support, and as a person, I personally need that little bit of a push, and to be called out if I'm not, if I'm procrastinating or if I'm sort of dancing around something. I need somebody to say, that's why this isn't happening. So it's the extra support, and it's the focus, and the total being, I think, as I say, my big thing is I always ask people there to call me out if I'm not doing what I've said I would do. So I find that really helpful. It's the stronger structure and really being held. Whereas in the seed, I kind of disappeared into the background and would got lost, as I say, with bright shiny objects and focusing in areas that weren't actually growing my business. So yeah, found a big difference.
Yeah. Well, it's normal, isn't it? The seed program is there for people to kind of be there and say, is this the right place for me? What kind of seed is it implanting? And when we're ready to literally plant ourselves into the ground and grow, and of course in bud, it is about that growth. And in order to do that, we need more structure, and we do need more accountability, perhaps. Yeah. Was there anything difficult about when you first came into building your business? Was there anything that surprised you that was difficult? Was more difficult or different than what you thought?
Yeah, probably. I mean, one of the biggest aspects was looking closely at my accumulator self. You see, from all these different aspects, and actually realizing that when things weren't flowing, it was because I wasn't allowing them to flow. And it's taking responsibility for my part in that process. So it's not always easy to look at those parts of yourself that you've probably, that have become a habit for you. And to actually say, well, okay, this is up to me to make the difference. So it's not all about doing things, it's about doing the self-work as well.
It's very much an inside job, isn't it?
Oh, definitely.
Building your business. Yeah, I think. Because the structures, we can go and Google things and find out how to do things, but to actually be held accountable to the bits that we don't want to do, the inner work that we don't want to do, it's helpful to have support. Yeah,
and also to have the support when you have these wobbles, because everybody has them. And it seems to be every next level that you go to, you come to that point where you could just throw in the towel and you wobble and you think, I can't do this. But having that support to get you through those times is really...
Yeah, it is. And knowing that it's normal as well. You're not alone. It's what happens when the acorn bursts its nut, or whatever you'd call it. It's what acorns do. And then when the tree starts to grow, it grows differently. We go into different phases, and each one is normal and natural. Well, thank you, Sally, for sharing about your accumulator frequency, because I know there are quite a lot of people who have this frequency, particularly in these times. And I think it's really helpful for us to get human about it and to not just see it as words on a page, but to actually see what it's like to be on the ground and living life through these lenses. So thank you for sharing. Please, anybody that's watching via the replay, please give Sally some love for being vulnerable. Please share what inspired you about her sharing and how it's helped you, whether or not you know your money frequency. If you don't know your money frequency, just click on the link that comes along with this video and you can find out what yours is too. Is there anything you would like to say before we say goodbye, Sally? Anything extra that your accumulator frequency wants to say?
I think the one thing that I would say to fellow accumulators who initially don't identify with being an accumulator because they feel that they don't hold, they don't have that relationship with money, and that money just seems to run through their fingers. That's just an accumulator out of balance, and it's the energy all going in one direction. So it's just learning to allow that two-way flow. I think that was a huge thing for me. Yeah, you can let money run through your fingers, but when you flow, you start bringing what you need back to you, and you can then nurture that more. But it's like, just don't think you're not an accumulator if you don't have pots of money. I certainly don't have pots and pots myself, but it's just that go over the identifying as a poor accumulator, I think is what I used to call myself.
Wow. Yeah, thank you, Sally. That's really useful for me to hear as well. So thank you once more. I hope you've enjoyed this, everybody, and well done, Sally. Thanks a lot. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.